go to a civil infraction ticket on the violations of the state building code, because it is a state building code versus a local ordinance. And so we're keeping the more severe violation of a misdemeanor ticket.
Okay, yeah, I
for
appreciate
violations of the code.
Yeah, I appreciate that for sure, because yeah, definitely someone littering or someone, possibly installing a furnace wrong or something like that is much different. So thank you.
We thought so.
Anything else, council, on this? I believe we had a motion and support. Let's continue with the roll call.
All right. I have motion by Lucido, supported by Baker. Councilperson Lucido?
Yes.
Councilperson Baker?
Yes.
Councilperson Curley?
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes, moving right along to item B, introduction and first reading ordinance number 1191, amend chapter 10, buildings and building regulations, article 3, rental housing, section 10-60, violations, equitable remedies, declaration of nuisance, disruptive conduct.
Madam Mayor, I motion to give first reading to adopt ordinance number 1191, which would amend chapter 10, building and building regulations, article 3, rental housing, section 10-60, violations, equitable remedies, a declaration of nuisance, disruptive conduct, and schedule the ordinance for a second reading and consideration for adoption at City Council's July 7th, 2020 regular meeting.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any conversation on this, council? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido?
Yes.
Councilperson Baker?
Yes.
Councilperson Curley?
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes. Next is item number C, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 1192, amend chapter 10, buildings and building regulations, article 4, property maintenance code, section 10-79, 2018 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code, adopted section 10-82, amendments in section 10-85, violations and penalty. Council, any conversation on this?
Madam Mayor, I motion to introduce and give first reading to ordinance number 1192, which would amend chapter 10, buildings and building regulations, article 4, property maintenance code, section 10-79, 2018 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code, adopted section 10-82, amendments, and section 10-85, violations, penalty, and schedule the ordinance for second reading and consideration for adoption at the City Council's July 7th, 2020 regular meeting.
I believe Councilman DeMonico had to raise his hand. Did you want to speak on this, sir?
Sure did. Was someone going to second that, I guess, first, and then I'll second it, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, so first, I guess, is Miss Doom on here? Because this is something I've brought up over and over. So actually, Municode and Mr. Albright, Municode is not updated because we've already changed the property maintenance code. It's already 2018. We voted on this November 13th, 2017 to move from 2009 to 2018. But since Municode's not updated, we've marked it as a change, but we've already changed it years ago. We need to update Municode like immediately. And I can even, if you find the November 13, 2017 council meeting, motion by Kleinfeld, second by Lucido, to give reading to and adopt ordinance 1145, amending chapter 10, building and building regulations, article 4, property maintenance code. And the minutes don't have specific changes, but then if you look on the ordinance 1145 text, it changes it to a 2018 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code for article 4, property maintenance. So we've already done this. We need to update Municode like immediately. This is getting so confusing.
Ms. Doom, did you want to speak on that, or you just pretty much agree?
No, I'm going to agree on that and go from here. We'll get it updated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonico. We have a motion and we have support. Please call the roll.
All right, I have motion by Lucido, supported by DeMonico. Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley.
Yes.
Moving forward, item D, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 1193, amend chapter 10, buildings and building regulations, article 5, blight prevention, section 10-117, enforcement, and section 10-119, violations and penalty. Council, any discussion on this?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I would move to introduce and give first reading to ordinance number 1193, which would amend chapter 10, building and building regulations, article 5, blight prevention, section 10 through 117, enforcement of section 10 through 119, violations, penalty, and schedule the ordinance for the second reading and consideration for adoption at the City Council's July 7th, 2020 regular meeting.
Support.
Moved and supported. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Next is item E, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 119, or amend chapter 18, environment, article 3, nuisance, section 18 through 51-51, procedure for abatement of nuisance, in section 18-54, violations and penalty.
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to introduce and give first reading to ordinance number 1194, which would amend chapter 18, environment, article 3, nuisances, section 18-51, procedure for abatement of nuisance, and section 18-54, violations, penalty, and schedule the ordinance for a second reading and consideration for adoption at City Council's July 7th, 2020 meeting, regular meeting.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any conversation on this? Call the roll, please.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico.
Yeah, real quick, a point of order, Mr. Fairbrother, you can mute people in the participants list too. I don't know if that's, it's easier, you can see all the unmuted people at the top of the participants list instead of using the video view.
You know, I'll admit to you, I made a mistake, and normally I auto mute everyone. And I think people actually have the ability to unmute themselves for this meeting.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to kind of mute people as much as possible.
Yeah, that's fine. I just figured, because I know a few people didn't know you could do that, so I figured I'd just point it out, but I vote yes on that ordinance.
All right, and Mayor Owens.
Yes. Next is item F, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 1195, amend chapter 18, environment, article 5, littering, section 18-125, violations and penalty. Any discussion on this,
Madam Mayor,
council?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir, Councilman.
I would move to introduce and give first reading to ordinance number 1195, which would amend chapter 18.
Mr. Fairbrother, can you control the background noise in the
Ordinance.
participants, please?
I'm working on it.
Thank you.
Environment, Article 5, littering, Section 18 through 125, violations, penalty, and schedule the ordinance for second reading and consideration for adoption at the City Council's July 7, 2020 regular meeting.
Support.
Moved and supported.
Mayor,
Councilman.
Mayor, I did have one item, sorry, I didn't mute fast enough earlier.
All right, I didn't see it. I'm looking down. Okay.
Just one item I thought we'd bring up, and we've talked about before. I think we even just talked about it just last meeting. It seems like maybe this would be an appropriate ordinance. We've talked about maybe doing community service even as opposed to like a civil infraction. Mr. Albright, did you have any recommendations for us on that? Like littering, obviously we want to keep the earth clean and all that, but I think it'd be kind of almost appropriate if maybe like community service helping out with the beautification commission on their litter cleanup day would be an appropriate community service or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how that works administratively, but did you have any insight on that?
Yeah, certainly community service is a component to a sentence on a misdemeanor. Generally speaking, with regard to civil infractions, community service isn't something that is done. But what I'd like to do is speak with the 38th District Court regarding ordering or at least allowing defendants to serve a term of probation or their sentence via community service. So I would like to get their input as to if that is something, who would be eligible and just all of the conditions that would surround that. So that is something I know that Madam Mayor brought this up last week, and I know that it was part of I did touch on it in my legal opinion from the weekend, but yes, I would like to speak with 38th District Court about community service and just the pros and cons on something like that.
Would you just want to do that then before our next meeting for the second reading then?
I'd be happy to. Yes.
Okay.
One thing I would point out on that is there was community service probably 2008-ish, and we were required to get a separate insurance policy because they were not volunteers and they were not city employees, so they were not covered under MMRMA. So we actually had to buy a separate policy to cover the community service, and each participant had to sign a hold harmless. That lasted a year and then was never renewed by the former judge. It's not that big a deal. It just is something we have to keep in mind.
Sounds good. Thank you for that information. We have anybody else would like to say anything on this? Please call the roll.
All right, I have motion by Curley, supported by
Yes.
Baker. Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Item G, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 1196, amend chapter 18, environment, article 6, rodent control, section 18-157, violations and penalty. Any discussion on this, council? If not, let's move forward with the motion.
Madam Mayor, I motion to introduce and give first reading to ordinance number 1196, which would amend Chapter 18, Environment, Article 6, Rodent Control, Section 18-157, violations, penalty, and schedule the ordinance for second reading and consideration for adoption at the City Council's July 7th, 2020 regular meeting.
Support.
Moved and supported. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Next item H, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 1197, amend chapter 38, streets, sidewalks, and other public places, article 2, street section 38-23, lawn extension improvements. Any concerns or opinions on this, council? Mr. DeMonico?
Yeah, I have a quick question. Was this, so I think I was trying to figure out, is this one seemed less strict? So we're changing, let's see, so grass or weeds exceeding 6 inches in height between April 1 and October 31st shall be maintained by the city in charge of the property owner. Then we're crossing out that next part, any owner, we're essentially crossing out the part where it says written notice within 72 hours. So I get, is this essentially to comply with our new, well, our new contract that I've expressed displeasure with in the, the past? I guess, that's my question, I guess, Mr. Albright.
Is Ms. Van Haren still there?
Yes, Mr.
Yes.
Herron?
Yes, I'm here.
Mary, are you able to speak on that question?
Yeah, so when we were looking at modifying the penalty clause on this along to match the others, we recognized that we still had to give public notice under this. There is no written notice required under the residential lawns, and so this is just really bringing it more in compliance with what that ordinance already says. So not giving them the 72 hours written notice. So all your commercial properties who have grass in the, well, this is, I guess, any property for the grass in the right-of-way area. The property owners are required to cut that also.
Okay.
You still got the floor, Mr. DeMonico. Anything else you would like to say?
No, that was my only question.
Okay. Did you have your hand up, Councilman Crowley?
No, I did not. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to make sure I give everybody, ample time to speak.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No more discussion. Can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to introduce and give first reading to ordinance number 1197, which would amend chapter 38, streets, sidewalks, and other public places, article 2, streets, section 38-23, lawn extension improvements, and schedule the ordinance for a second reading and consideration for adoption at the City Council's July 7th, 2020 regular meeting.
Support.
Moved and supported. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
No.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker.
Yes.
Moving forward to item I, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 1198, amend chapter 44, traffic and vehicles, article 3, parking, stopping, and standing, section 44-67, violations and penalty. Any
Madam Mayor?
discussion on this, council?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I would move to introduce and give first reading to ordinance number 1198, which would amend chapter 44, traffic and vehicles, article 3, parking, stopping, and standing, section 44 through 67, violations, penalties, and schedule the ordinance for second reading and consideration for adoption at City Council's July 7, 2020 regular meeting.
Support.
Support.
Moved and supported. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes, thank you. Item J, adoption of resolution number 1907, hazard mitigation plan. This is brought up by our Deputy Fire Chief, Nick Sage. Is he on the line? Hi, good evening.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
You came right on time. Please
Yes,
speak
ma'am.
on this resolution, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. Every 5 years, the county puts forth a hazard mitigation plan for the county as a whole. And it discusses a little bit for each community within the county. So this update, I don't think is as thorough as it usually would be. And I think that's because of the COVID pandemic. But council needs to adopt it so that we stay compliant for any grant funding that might come our way.
Okay.
And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them.
Any questions, council members?
I think just the one quick thing, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
If we can just change the, I mentioned it in my email, that last 2 years part, because it's not, I have no idea what years you're talking about then, because it's a similar text as the last plan. That would probably be good and make more sense. But I also think we should just, maybe in the future, it doesn't need to be done tonight, well, especially doesn't need to be done tonight, talk about the flooding issues that are present in that plan, see if we can do anything to even further mitigate things as we've done in the past.
I see that head nodding means that Mr. Sage is in agreement with that.
We can
Anyone
do
else would
that.
like to speak on that?
Yes, we certainly can do that.
Okay, thank you so much for all the work you have been doing during the whole pandemic and things of that nature. And thank you for tuning in with us tonight. Can I get a motion? We need a motion on this? Yes, we do.
Sure, Mayor, I'll motion we adopt Resolution 1907, which adopts the Macomb County Hazard Mitigation Plan for 2020 through 2025.
Support. Support.
Moved and supported. Please call the roll.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Next, we still need you here, Mr. Deputy Chief Sage, on this one. The next item is item K, the fire station parking lot. Now, this is requesting that we do another parking lot, Deputy.
That is correct, Madam Mayor, Council. The budget reflects a expense of $75,000 in the budget for a parking lot replacement. And that's at the rear of the station. It's in pretty bad shape. It definitely needs to be replaced. So I'm happy to report that Italia is willing to honor the 2018 contract rates that are in place with the city for general concrete work. So the estimate on this comes in at just a little over $50,000, and we built in a 10% contingency for any potential overrun. So it should come in well under budget, and we should be able to get that work done within the next month. So sorry about bringing it last minute at the end of the fiscal, but we're just trying to get it done as quickly as we can.
It didn't look that bad to me, Deputy. To me, now I don't know. I'm not a contractor or anything like that, but it didn't look that bad. When was the last time that was replaced?
I would say about 15 years, and I apologize. I think 2008, going off the top of my head, was a complete replacement. Where we have issues is in the seams, and in the seams is where it's eroded to the point where there's probably 3 inches worth of erosion around a lot of the seams. So it's pretty bad.
Well, my next question is it an emergency? Can it go another year or two, or?
Well, it's certainly at council's discretion. I wish I had pictures I could put up for you, but we certainly felt that it's something we wanted to do. I would have to say that for the cost that's in front of us now, it's only going to be more expensive going forward if we wait.
I guess I'm trying to find out how long is it? If you see it now, how long, we can prolong it? Is it something that we need to do right now, or, what I'm saying? Is it an emergency behind it? Can we wait another 2 years or things like that? Because it is last minute. So if you put it on here last minute, it didn't sound like it was something that was urgent to get done.
It's been in the budget for the entire fiscal. We haven't been able to move on it because of the COVID pandemic.
Okay.
We didn't want to do anything with it in the fall last year. We wanted to wait till the springtime. We just didn't anticipate the shutdown with the pandemic. So my apologies that it comes at a time where there's a lot on the agenda, but it was certainly planned for this fiscal year.
Okay. Any questions, council members? Councilman DeMonico?
Sure. Thanks, Madam Mayor. Deputy Chief, thanks for coming on. My question, might not be for you, I guess, specifically, but first of all, I guess, why are we having AEW come in and do engineering if we're going with, none of this makes sense, I guess, to me about going with Italia. We got to competitively bid things that are over $5,000, any capital projects. And if this is going to be the rate, this is the whole thing. We've had this over the last few years, this exact issue with DPW work. We should be either going out to bid, AEW does the specs like we're doing, or if we can fit it into a contract we already have. Seems like we're doing neither of those, I guess, is my question.
Well, this actually, if I could speak up, is actually part of a contract we do have. And it was a 2018 contract. So what happened is in 2018, AEW did the engineering work and drew up the estimate. What we did is we approached Italia with that 2018 estimate and said, will you honor these rates? And that's where the $50,328 comes from.
So this, well, this dateless invoice is from 2018 then, in our agenda packet? Or not invoice, bid proposal from AEW.
It's their work from 2018, correct. The parking lot dimensions and all that doesn't change. So it's got all the dimensions and all that and their costs at the time.
But we wouldn't have awarded though, so we had already awarded the bid even to Italia then, we're saying?
No, it had never been, there had never been any action on it. I think it was just basically homework that was done at the time. It was the previous chief, so I really can't answer that question.
No, I'm just saying though, any project we do with AEW, we approve for them to do the engineering, and then we go out to bid, and then we award to the low bidder to do the project. That we're not doing that.
So, Mr. DeMonico, if I could chime in, it's my understanding that Italia is honoring the 2018 concrete replacement bid. So in that bid, there's a material cost, and they are honoring all of that material cost for the purpose of the fire station parking lot. So it has been bid out, maybe not in the most traditional of senses. If you guys want us to go out to bid again, we could, but there's always additional costs and time to bid this out. So we thought it would be a good idea to kind of piggyback off that other contract that the city has, and that's been awarded to Italia, just so that we could avoid that.
Oh, but that's the exact problem though. This is what we've done in the past, and go visit Stricker and Cushing, and we had a water main break, and then all of a sudden spent $100,000 on concrete on that corner because we've honored the prices of that contract. They were doing it for the same rate, but we had never approved for this giant corner to be repaved, and that is what happened. That was a water sewer project, an issue in the past. And so now this is the exact same thing. We're not, city council's not approving then that bid. We're essentially just piggybacking off another contract.
Pre-approved bid. Yep.
Right, and I get the pricing supposed to be competitive, but there should still have to be a bid process then. At this point, I don't think this is appropriate that we're doing it that way. It's the same issue we've had in the past.
And the budgeted cost of the current year was $75,000, Deputy Sage.
Yes, ma'am, 75,000, yes.
And our total cost is 55.
No, it's under budget, yeah. Sorry.
Under budget. Now I get what you're saying, Councilman DeMonico. I'm not, I'm just looking at the savings and things. I take everything into, consideration. Not that you're wrong or he's wrong. I just take in everything. Ms. Bloom, did you want to say something on this? I thought you wanted to, or.
I'm right here. Do you see me?
Yes, ma'am, I see you.
Okay, all I see is, oh, here you are. I saw a telephone. It's my understanding also from talking with Brian and with the deputy that this is a contract that was bid out for cost, and that we were very fortunate to be able to have them hold to the 2018 rate for contract and contact, can't even get my words out, cement work for us. So I certainly was in approval of bringing this forward today, with the understanding that this is a cost that was previously bid and previously awarded. And it's a real benefit to the community to be allowed to have them hold it to their 2018 price. Now, if council would like to go out for bid, start fresh again, there's a very high likelihood that the cost will come in considerably higher, but that is council decision.
So you said it did go out to bid, Ms. Dunn, to Italia, and Italia won it?
They would most likely give today's prices. They are honoring 2018 because they bid it at that time, but we know that 2020 has a much higher concrete price than it was a few years ago. So it is actually something very beneficial to the community, when we can work with a contractor that has done work for us, is very reputable, and will honor what they did 2 years ago for us. But then, as I said, that is council's decision. If you'd like to go out and start fresh with bidding, we can certainly do that for you.
Mr. DeMonico?
Sure. Just one point, and I see Mayor Pro Tem Lucito's got a question. Can you please forward us, I guess, that bid that we're talking about right now?
The
Because
2018?
yes.
Mhm.
Okay, Ms. Lucido?
No, I was just gonna say, I understand where Mr. Ronald was coming from, but the price does seem good, and we did have a bid in 2018 for Italia. I know that normally we probably shouldn't do this, and it's a little bit different than, I guess, the Collins and the Stricker, because at least they're actually asking us if we want to do this parking lot first, where we were never asked then about replacing that whole corner. But so I think I would be happy to make a motion if you don't mind, Mayor.
Yes, please.
Madam Mayor, I motion to replace the parking lot at the fire station as outlined in the cost estimate prepared by Anderson, X9 and Westrick for $50,328.76, plus a contingency of $5,032.88 for a total project cost of $55,361.64.
Support.
Moved and supported.
Madam Mayor,
Councilman?
just one more comment. I guess so. Frankly, I would have expected this to come back to us if Mr. Sage hadn't mentioned that we were working with Italia, because right now we're just doing the same thing we always do with AEW. They give an estimated project, I mean, outlined in the cost estimate, plus a contingency. Well, I mean, why do we even need a contingency then if we know the price? This is where this 2018 bid we're talking about is not specifically for a fire department parking lot. Are we talking about a sidewalk bid? Are we talking about a miscellaneous street repair bid? That's where I think this is not the same kind of thing we always do.
Deputy Chief Sage?
My understanding of the information's right in the council packet.
Right, yeah, I'm looking, yeah.
From AEW.
Right, but what we always do is AEW gives us an estimate. They say, yeah, we think the project's going to cost let's use this one, $55,000, including the 10% contingency. Then we go out to bid and we get actual people bidding on that project, and hopefully they are accurate and it comes in at $55,000. Right now, all the information we have in front of us right now is from AEW. There's nothing in here about Italia anywhere.
Mr. DeMonico, AEW did the estimate in terms of quantities. So they estimated how much concrete they think we need. I can't remember if pavement markings, I believe we took pavement markings out, how much curb we need. And then they went ahead and they plugged in those numbers from the 2018, I believe it's the miscellaneous street repair contract. It's whatever is in the packet. They plugged in those numbers, and that's how we came up with the finalized number. We, of course, verified it with our supplier, and they agreed to that pricing. Truthfully, I think they agreed to it because they're in the area, and they know that we're going to be approving this soon. So if we go out to bid now, I can just about guarantee you we're going to pay an extra 15 or 20%.
No, I get that part. It's just our whole process, though. This is not, because if it's the miscellaneous street repair, council is expecting that money to be spent on miscellaneous street repair, not the fire station parking lot. When we awarded that bid, then if this is money left over in that bid, it should just come back to council. Or if there's no money left in that bid, then we would be approving this estimate and just spending the money, and it would have never came back to council again. I'm just saying it's just not the same. We're not following like what we always do for all these different projects.
So we're not moving money around. So all we're doing is the fire department is piggybacking off of the DPW department's bid. So we're not using DPW money to pay for the fire department's.
Right. Okay. So yeah,
work.
if that's the case, then I was assuming we were approving the estimate from AEW tonight, not actually awarding the project. I do see now one tiny sentence here. I didn't overlook this. says include Italia construction bid prices from 0145-0530, which I guess that's not included. I don't even know what, I'd have to look back and see what that is. But like, don't you, like, so we're usually do AEW and then award a bid. We're not doing the award the bid part then. That's apparently happening this time, which is never what we do.
We're,
Does council understand what I'm saying? Like, someone
Well,
else.
I understand what you're saying. You say we usually go out to bid, but sometimes on certain projects, we don't go out to bid with every project though, Mr. Monaco.
Well, anything over 5,000 is supposed to be formally bid. So.
Some things we haven't did that in my experience being on council. I mean,
and that's what I'm speaking of. No, I agree.
I see what you're saying. I mean, I guess that this is a bid that went out in 2018 and they agreed to it, come back in 2020, and they're still holding the pricing for us, in which they feel like it's going to be higher. And since we have already a contract with them, we just trying to say we're saving over $20,000. So I guess, I mean, I see what you're saying, but all of, in respect of what was put here today is something that it was bidded out. It's just 2 years later, we just actually going through with the project, if I'm correct by saying that, Ms. Doon.
That's my understanding, yes.
So Mr. Councilman DeMonico, you talking about going back out to bid for something, rebid for this all over again, is what you're saying?
Well, I'm just saying we never awarded a bid for this, an actual amount to an actual contractor for this specific project. That's what I'm saying. I'm in favor of the project. I think let's go ahead and do it. I think we should, but it's just not the same process we've always done. That's all.
Understood. Councilwoman Lucido.
Mr. DeMonico, if I were to amend my motion to include awarding it to Italia, would that clear up the confusion, I guess?
Well, it's not confusion for me. It's just like we're just picking them then to do it.
To clarify, I guess to clarify the motion, because you're right. I mean, this motion that I made, looking back at it, it's just approving their cost estimate, but we're not approving right now in this motion for Italia to start the work.
Right. I think personally, I'd probably just want to do the AEW estimate and not talk about who's doing the work until we see this. I guess I'd like to see this because it sounds confusing what that actual 2018 document looks like then that we're referring to. Maybe we can put a motion then on the next agenda then to actually award it to them or do what we need to at that next meeting.
So my motion is still okay because it's just basically approving their estimate on it.
Yeah. Okay.
You got some good pointers though, Councilman DeMonico. So I agree with a lot what you're saying, and also what administration has said as well. So we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Lucido. Did we get support on that?
Yes.
Okay, please call the roll.
respectfully, can I ask for clarification what the motion is?
The motion was to replace the parking lot at the fire station as outlined in, it does say to replace it. I'm sorry, Mr. DeMonico. But it doesn't say who we're awarding this bid to.
Right, I would assume that's what we usually word it like that. We'd say what the actual project is in a cost estimate by AEW. But yeah, if we're not even mentioning a business, I don't know who's.
So I'll admit that's my failure. I should have included awarding it to Italia Construction. That was the intention of city administration, was to use the cost estimate and award the contract. Well, award the, whatever we want to call this. It's essentially a contract.
You have a charger or no?
Italia Construction.
Extra cord that I bought.
Now we got Samsung 8 here.
No, because I had to take it.
Oh, well, if Ms. Lucido, if you just read exactly what's on the sheet, right? And so I'd second that, and I think we need to have an item then on the next agenda about who's doing the work on the next agenda then.
Yes. So, Mr. Fairbrother, I read exactly what is written in the packet. to replace the parking lot at the fire station as outlined in the cost estimate prepared by Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick for $50,328.76, plus a contingency of $5,032.88 for a total project cost of $55,361.64.
Support.
Moved and supported. Supported by Councilman Curley. Please call the roll.
All right. Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker.
Yes.
And Mr. Fairbrother or Ms. Doom, sometime this week, can you send us that 2018 bidding award?
Mm-hmm.
And then, in addition to that, at our next meeting, who is awarded to? Correct, Councilman DeMonico?
Sorry, what was that last statement you said?
In the next meeting, add on to the agenda, the award going to Italia. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving along, item L, adoption of resolution number 1908, the resolution of the city of Eastpointe to concur in the rules and regulations concerning industrial pretreatment program as adopted by the Great Lakes Water Authority. Ms. Doom, did you want to do a little summary on this?
I'm really not that familiar with their program. I would ask Joe's to speak up, but I don't think he's with us any further. He has more knowledge on this, so I apologize.
That's okay. I know I read a little bit about it, and it's just pretty much going towards the Great Lakes Water Authority and how to clean the water and be in compliance of that pretreatment program, which most communities have to do anyway.
Right. This is more of a formality, but something that is required by them.
Right, by all communities, and keeping our water clean and pre-treating them for our sewage and water treatment as well. Council, any conversation on this?
Mayor, I'll make a motion if you're ready for it.
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
All right, I make a motion that we adopt resolution number 1908, resolution of the city of Eastpointe to concur in the rules and regulations concerning industrial pretreatment program as adopted by Great Lakes Water Authority.
I'll support.
Moved and supported. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes, thank you. Next item M, appointment by city manager with concurrence of city council to the Downtown Development Authority, 2 terms to expire September 1st, 2023. Ms. Doom, please.
Yes, I'd like to recommend Lisa Denise Peterson and Andrea Troutman to the Eastpointe Downtown Development Authority Board to fill those 2 vacancies, with both of their terms expiring September 1st, 2023.
Council, any
I'll
questions?
make a motion if you're ready.
Yes, please.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve in accordance with section 288.02 of the City of Eastpointe Code of Ordinances, the city manager's appointment of Lisa Denise Peterson and Andrea Troutman to the Eastpointe Downtown Development Authority Board to fill 2 vacancies with terms expiring on September 1st, 2023.
Support.
Moved and supported. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes, next item is discussion on amending the budget, capital expense for body worn cameras. And this was brought up by Councilman DeMonico. Did you want to talk about this, Mr. DeMonico?
Sure, Madam Mayor, and I'll try to keep it as short as possible since it's 10:05 here. I wanted to bring forward a discussion to amend the budget for body-worn cameras. Obviously, well, and after reading this, 1/3 of police departments throughout the United States have them, and you know, we've talked about it. I know, Mayor Owens, you've brought it up too in discussions during budget time, and we've just never actually taken the step to put it in the budget and actually go through with it. Clinton Township Police Department has them, and the Sheriff's Department at least has some. I'm not sure if they require all of them, but it's just definitely a trend with police departments, and I think a positive trend for transparency with the citizens, increased civility with police department and the community, and just I think a very positive thing. And I think we should go forward with this. I provided the 2 links that I thought were really good articles, and the second one's a cost and benefit analysis of them. And Mr. Rohib had suggested somewhere around $100,000 to budget. And I just wanted to see, I guess, what council thought. And of course, there's grants available. And I thought it'd be a good thing we could include this year.
Councilwoman Lucido?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely something worth looking into. I don't know if we necessarily need to amend the budget right now. I think it would be, giving administration direction to get us more information on the body cams, pricing, and any grant information that is available for any grants that we may be able to apply for this, and maybe get that information to us at a future meeting, and at that time we can amend our budget to purchase them.
Councilman Curley?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I agree that I don't think anyone would argue the fact that we need them, and probably should have had them 5 years ago. But I think I know that the administration and George is in a process of looking for grants, and there are a lot of grants out there. So I agree with Cardi that the police department needs them, and let's give George and the administration an opportunity to, when they can find some grants. They're there, so they're going to find some grants. For how much we don't know yet.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. DeMonico.
Just one more thing I wanted to say about it. I think I'd rather see us go forward with amending the budget now so that we are stating that we do want to go forward, and it's clear that council does want to go forward, because we of course will have it in front of us again before we bought them. So he can do all his research and we have all year then. Obviously I don't want to take all year, but we should take a couple, month, 2, or what needs to be done. And then it need to be brought for us before we bought them anyway. So I was just figuring we might as well buy them, or not buy them now, sorry. We might as well amend the budget now.
I would think that, because I think the director had asked for the locker room to get fixed. I think that was almost $50,000. Ms. Doon, was it almost $50,000 to get the lockers fixed?
I can't remember the exact cost, but I do know he asked for that.
Because I was thinking actually using that money for the cameras, because I think that's more important to get the body cameras than getting the locker room fixed up.
Well, one thing I would like to share with all of you in discussion with Director Rohib is that the estimate he has on the cameras might be for the cameras only. There's still quite a bit of IT work. There's a lot of storage from the video. Mm-hmm. And so an estimate would be, quite a bit higher than $100,000 when we put everything in together, because we do have to determine whether, can we afford cameras for every single officer? What would that cost? As we know, we don't know what grants are available. What would that do for our IT needs? What would that cost? Are we going to store it for 30 days, 60 days? And that all is very, very dependent on the cost. So I do want to caution you that the estimates that we anticipate are considerably higher than $100,000 when you roll it all out completely. So I just want to make you aware of that. But certainly if council would like to redirect that $50,000, that is your purview.
Because I was thinking, if it's in our mind, it's $100,000. If we move that $50,000, at least that's half on the body cameras, and not telling us what the grants would probably give us about $50,000. That might pay close to more than enough for the body cameras.
It may. Is Mr. Sage still with us? I see his name's up there. He may have a little more information for us.
Deputy Sage, are you still there? Is Director Rohib on here? He didn't attend tonight? Anybody from the police department?
I don't, it looks like Nick is standing in for, nope, doesn't look like it. Well, Nick's on silent, so he doesn't hear us.
Well, since this is just a discussion, I know we can come back and get some numbers and some more information. That's what I'm thinking. So I would rather, redirect the money, because I think that the locker room isn't as important as getting these body cameras that was talked about some years ago, as the, things change in the world and certain things become more important than others. We have to redirect our money towards things that are more important. And I think, the locker room isn't as important as a body camera.
Well, the director has indicated that he has some meetings set up with potential vendors in the next few weeks to determine cost and need and compatibility with the cameras that we have in our cars. So he is working on it. And I think he'll be able to come back and give you a much better estimate than his initial cost of cameras of $100,000. So yeah, it's worthy of a discussion at our next meeting, and I'm sure there'll be a whole lot more information for you then.
Okay.
So I have a quick question just in regards to this. If we just keep it as a discussion tonight and in our next meeting in July, if we decide that, hey, the cost is good, it's something we can do, well, definitely I think we all are on board with wanting to do it. But if we come to our next meeting, will we have to do a budget amendment at the next meeting? Or if he finds that there is grant money available, would that technically still require a budget amendment, or can he just go forward with whatever grant money is awarded? Or, well, I guess it depends on how much is awarded. So,
Sure.
but if we decide at our next meeting that we want to go forward, is that something that we're able to do?
Mr. Blum, if you'd answer that for him, please.
Any time we have expenditures in excess of what's currently budgeted, we would need an amendment. Even if there is grant money to cover it, the grant would come in as a revenue item, and then the purchase would be an expenditure item. So, but we do budget amendments throughout the year as these sort of things pop up. So it's not that big a deal, whether we do it in July or December or next June. So as long as council's approving the purchase before we make it, we're good.
Okay, thank you.
That sounds good. Any more conversation on this? Councilman DeMonico?
Mayor, I like your idea. I think, we might as well motion now if we're all if we're all in favor of it anyway, or else we'd just be motioning next meeting, and then it'd have to be a budget amendment at that point instead of finishing the budget before the end of the fiscal year here.
I guess
If I may.
I guess our only understanding is how we know about body cameras, but we don't know how much it costs per officer and how much the system costs. I believe that.
Oh yeah, it's just an estimate. That's all. I mean, we can revise that, of course, in the future. It could just be a placeholder for now. Is all I'm saying. You were saying, push the locker room improvements maybe just a year back, and we do that this year instead, and then it's a $50,000 difference. If it comes in a little higher, I expected IT maintenance costs too. That was part of my couple paragraphs here that I put on the agenda. I just think that makes more sense now.
Yeah, I would prefer, my opinion, would prefer to wait to make the motion until we have more information on price, because I realize that he may have thrown out a number of 100,000, but once we put it in the budget, like, if it's unfeasible for us to do this year, it might be something that'd be more likely to be budgeted for next year, depending on the cost. Like, we don't know yet. So I don't feel comfortable without having a better estimate on a price, because I don't think 100,000, I think that was just like a number he threw out there. I don't think there was any research done, in my opinion, to really come up with that number. So I would prefer waiting if everyone doesn't mind.
Councilman Curley.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I wouldn't mind put it on the agenda in July, and hopefully the administration will have some more cost estimates for us, and perhaps some new information on grants. But we can't make I don't mind it being on the agenda next meeting, but tonight we can't make a motion on this anyway because it's listed on our agenda as a discussion item only. So we would be ruled out of order if we wanted to make a motion on a discussion item.
Thank you. Ms. Doom, please.
Yes, I have Mr. Roby just texted me. He is on, but he was muted. And so could Brian unmute him so that he can speak?
Good evening, Director. Good evening, Director. Can you hear us?
I don't know what device he is. Does anyone see what device he may be?
I'll text him.
And while we're waiting just a moment, a point of order here, Mr. With what you said, Councilman Curley, any of us can make throughout the whole meeting, we can technically make any motion we want throughout the whole meeting, even if it's not on the agenda for the regular meetings. Special meetings you can't, but a regular meeting, according to the parliamentary procedure and council bylaws, you can make a motion that's not on our agenda. And I mean, I don't know if Mr. Albright, if you wanted to say anything about that, but that is my understanding of parliamentary procedure.
Yeah, because I think we just did that earlier in the meeting.
No, you might be right, Cardi. So Richard, yeah, clear my head up.
Yeah, we actually did that earlier this evening. It was just a discussion item, and the council could have either just left it as a discussion item or made a motion, and the council decided to make a motion just to clarify something.
No, we don't have to, when we put an item on the agenda, we don't have to use the word discussion.
I'm sorry, you broke up there.
I said that we don't have to use the word discussion. If you put something on the agenda that you want to talk about, you don't have to put discussion.
I don't see nothing wrong with
If you're gonna make a motion anyway, why do you fooling around with the word discussion?
Excuse me 1 second. Ms. Doom, do you have Director on the line?
Somehow we're having some difficulty, so he did text. He says, we have meetings set up this week. They will give us a cost assessment, and he will put together a comprehensive report for you.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. So in the midst of that discussion, we'll have some information for our next meeting, and that will be an added agenda item. We'll have more to talk about and discuss on that. So moving right along to payroll and bills.
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to pay the bills in the amount of $1,542,120.98.
Support.
Any questions on this? Moved and supported, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Can't hear
You're
you.
muted.
Can't hear you, Mr. Crowley.
My mic went off. I say yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilperson Monaco,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. The next one is our second hearing of the public, so we don't bore them with our closed session coming back. It's open right now. If anyone would like to speak, you get 3 minutes to speak on your concerns or any opinions or ideas you would like to bring to council. You have this moment to do that now. You see anyone? Mr. Fairbrother?
Mhm.
You see Mr. DeHunt down there raising his hand. Oh, let me get my timer together.
Yeah, Mr. DeHunt would like to speak.
Okay.
John,
I'm ready
can you
when
hear
you
us?
are, Mr. DeHunt. Good evening.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for Madam Mayor and Council. So this evening, I was fortunate enough to be able to socially distance at my favorite Eastpointe restaurant, at which point I came into some information about one of our local residents that was quite sad. So if you're not aware, Harvey Creech had some major surgery, and thankfully, he is recuperating at home and hopefully going to recover very well, hence his not being present. So it got me to thinking about Harvey. I love the man. You know what? Because he holds everybody's feet to the fire. Whether you agree with him or not, he just says it the way it is. He is respectful, loud, but still respectful nonetheless. So I just hope that we can all Mr. Creech in our prayers, because opposition, voicing concerns, it's all part of our democracy. It's just kind of the way it is. Not everybody's going to like what everybody has to say. Lord knows there are some people that can't stand me or my thoughts. But at the end of the day, we all have to tolerate opposition. And it got me to thinking. And I came across a couple of quotes that I wanted to share. So I guess, forgive me, I'm going to go into teacher mode for the moment. And the one that I really kind of like, well, there's two. If you have no critics, you'll likely have no success. That was Malcolm X. The other one that he came up with that I thought was pretty good was, don't be in such a hurry to condemn a person because he doesn't do what you do or think as you think or as fast. There was a time when you didn't know what you know today. So I was thinking about Harvey and wishing him well in my mind, and I'm thinking, you know what? We need more Harvey Creeches that are willing to put their hand up and take the bullets and put their money where their mouth is. For the love of God, the man ran for mayor, and he put all of the money out of his own pocket, didn't take any contributions from anybody. We need more people like Harvey Creech. So, you know what? God bless Mr. Creech, and I wish him well. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Mandy would like to speak now. Mandy, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
I understand Ms. Doom when she was saying the extended dates for people to pay their water bills and stuff. What was the date on the dog license? Because it's really hard to get into the veterinarian with these animals that we have. So if she could clarify that, I would appreciate it. Second, when Kim was speaking about the housing again, she said that she wanted it to be faith-based teens, or the mayor said that she would like the superintendent to pick out teens to do the work in these homes. And I think with that criteria, they may be planning to use to determine who gets the opportunity to work, could leave the city wide open for lawsuits. There's many teenagers out here. There's many that probably need jobs just like they do. And I think that would be part of discrimination if they started opening it up with the students and then faith-based residents. Not all of these residents attend churches. Not all these residents watch city council meetings. So the parents wouldn't even know, well, my teen's eligible. There's no background, there's nothing wrong, and my teen could learn some of these skills. And I think that it should be posted as an opportunity for these teenagers out here in Eastpointe. And that's all I have to say. One more thing. I would like to thank Mr. Baker for all the services during the pandemic with gleaners and keeping all the residents highly informed of time, dates, and locations. He's done a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
All right. Michaelina said, can city hall meetings be every week instead of 2 times per month? But beyond that, I do not see anyone else raising their hands. So I think it's safe to close the floor.
Okay, thank you everyone for who attended the hearing of the public and those who have stayed with us. Let's do mayor and council reports while we still have people in attendance, starting with Councilman Baker.
All right. Well, thank you. I won't prolong. I just want to thank everybody for attending, and I want to extend my well wishes to Mr. Harvey Creech. I've known him for a little while, too when I was on Parks and Rec, and I just hope that he's recovering well and that he has a speedy recovery. Thank you to everyone who has helped volunteer with Gleaners during this time. We've all been trying to practice safe practices, covering our face with masks, wearing our gloves, using sanitizers and things of that nature. And I just want to thank everybody that's contributing and just working to help the community during this time. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman DeMonico.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, I also hope, thanks, Mr. DeHaan, for talking about Mr. Creech. I hope he is doing well. I do miss him at our meetings here. And Miss Trice, dog tags, it's June 21st. I just checked on our website real quick. On the homepage, we've got a few links in the middle now for anyone else that's looking for deadlines. In the middle of the page, you'll see changes to deadlines in the news and announcements there to check on other deadlines. And I just had one item. So yesterday was a great day. The Supreme Court of the United States, as I'm sure most of you have seen by now, ruled that no longer employers can discriminate on sexual orientation across the country for employment reasons. And that's just as of yesterday, of course, and it was a 6-3 decision. Justice Gorsuch wrote the opinion, and there's also a very long dissent that goes along with it if you look up the document. But this is why we advocate for minority groups and other marginalized groups, because as you can see, just as of yesterday, well, 2 days ago, there was no law that said you couldn't discriminate for someone's sexual orientation for employment. So this is why we do these different resolutions. We're not all, as one resident has put it, all in one big happy tent. We need to push these things forward and move in the appropriate direction. So very happy to see that. And it's not, we don't want to act either as if we're colorblind and pass resolutions recognizing like all lives matter or something like that. That's just ignoring the truth and not looking at things as they are. We need to recognize that there's issues and address them. So I was very happy to see that Supreme Court decision, and that was really all I had, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that information and insight. Councilman Curley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've got more of a statement than things to bring up. 8 minutes and 46 seconds. 8 minutes and 46 seconds. That time should be etched in our heart, and it should be etched in our soul. I think that we would all agree that enough is enough. A couple of weeks ago, they had a lady on one of the news channels, and she was making hundreds of sweet potato pies. And she would go out and hand them out to the people that need them. And she had a t-shirt on. And that t-shirt said, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." And that quote was given by Fannie Lou Hamer on August 27th, 1964, when she tested between the Senate about all the problems we were having in 1964. So in conclusion, I guess I would like to have everybody go home tonight and stand or sit silently for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And if you want to say something, say this: I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Thank you, Councilman Curley, for that. Mayor Pro Tem Lucido.
Sorry. I'm going to try to make this really quick because it's getting really late in the self-closed session. So I just want to thank everyone for participating tonight. I want to thank our administration and everyone that participated at City Hall to get it prepared for opening on Monday. I did happen to stop in there today. It looked like they had they had taken a lot of precautions and to keep our residents safe. They have the floor marked for social distancing and things like that. So I just want to take a moment to thank all of them for their hard work and thank everyone for joining us tonight. And that's all I have.
Thank you. I got a couple announcements. Tomorrow, I believe the Eastpointe Community Action Coalition will be having a virtual Narcan training. That will be June 17th at 6 p.m. And the Narcan will be available for pickup on Thursday, June 18th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Emmanuel United Methodist Church. That is in Eastpointe on Gratiot. And hopefully we will have this information on our website for you if you would like to join that. Also, those that have a business or nonprofit in the city of Eastpointe or Macomb County, please sign up for this $5,000 grant. If you are eligible, the requirements and things like that should be on macombcounty.gov for more information on that. I was able to meet with some business owners and give out some of the eligibility so that a lot of them did not know in Eastpointe about they were eligible to receive those grants. So if you know a business owner or a nonprofit in the city of Eastpointe, please inform them that we have grants available for them and also PPE kits that they can receive throughout from the county and Clinton Township. And I also want to say again, congratulations to our kindergartners, not only them, but our Eastpointe high schoolers who graduated. I was honored to be invited to see them receive their diplomas. They had an event at the Eastpointe High School. They received their diplomas and they were able to take photos. And I was invited to take photos and they could take a photo with the mayor as a commemorative photo with them and their diploma. And they were so excited to see an elected official come and, on their big day and their accomplishment. I know it was last minute, so I know other council and mayor pro tem would probably have attended, but they had let me know at the last minute. So when they see me, they see all of us. So I was able to attend that and see the seniors, and I was so excited about seeing them. Also, I want to thank all the council, Ms. Doom, and the directors, and also not only the directors, but the people every worker that worked not only continues to work their hours here, but those that worked at home to help us continue servicing our city, as well as our commissioners who work through Zoom and our residents for helping us with your emails and your concerns, for seeing the things that we aren't able to see as well. So I also want to end it with saying continuously praying for those who are still being affected. Like Mr. Councilman Curley said, people are still being affected by COVID-19 and it's not over yet. And prayers for those who have lost someone during COVID-19. And I also want to give prayers for those affected by the injustices that we see throughout America, because unfortunately, it won't end through George Floyd. It ends with us. So if you want to move forward and stop seeing the injustices of our community, of our state, of our country, it starts at home. So if you want to make change, it changes when you look in the mirror. So saying that, we're going to go into closed session with our collective bargaining agreement and also communications. Can I get a motion to go into closed session, Council?
Madam Mayor, I'll motion that we go into closed session regarding collective bargaining strategy pursuant to MCL 15.268C.
I'll support that.
Moved and supported. Please call the roll to go in closed session.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes, thank you. Closed session starts at 10:35. Thank you, everyone who attended. Stay with us through this time. So, Mr. Fairbrother, we're leaving and going to the other Zoom meeting, correct?
That is the plan, unless you want me to go through and I don't think I can do that. I think it's best if we all exit this and
Okay,
relog
let's
in.
all exit, just letting all the residents know that we're leaving now. Have a good night, everyone. Stay blessed.